Wi-Fi podcast. We're about to get dumped on with snow here on the East Coast. It's like a nor'easter for sure.
Yeah, we definitely don't have to worry about that here.
It's true.
In Southern California.
Someday, man, we'll move out there.
Maybe sooner than later.
Maybe sooner. Yeah, if it keeps snowing, maybe sooner than later. All right, so today we want to talk about a few things having to do with Wi-Fi. First, I tested out the new Fire TV Stick 4K Max this week, and this is like the perfect example of why Wi-Fi 6 is going to help the Internet of Things. I'll put the review that I did over here, and you can click on it and check it out. But briefly, like I have a 4K TV in the bedroom. It's about 40 feet away from my Wi-Fi 6 router or access point, not router. It's about 40 feet away from from the closest Wi-Fi 6 access point, and there's some walls in between. Normal situation, right?
Yeah.
Now the old Fire TV had it was an 11 AC adapter in it, and I was getting if I go to speed test on it, bring up the Silk browser, go to speed test, I'd get about 20 megabits per second, which is just barely enough to do 4K. I mean, it would do 4K, and it wasn't really buffering or anything, but it was not optimal, right?
Yeah.
So then, I put the new Fire TV Stick 4K Max in there, and this is the first one to have Wi-Fi 6. Now, it has some other improvements too. It has like faster CPU, more memory, and all that. So it's definitely snappier. But when I did the same exact speed test in the same location, I got like over 120 megabits per second. So So it went up like over 100 meg, just by switching out to Wi-Fi 6 adapter.
On the TV side then.
Yeah, on the TV side. So that right there is a reason to use Wi-Fi 6 equipment whenever you can, like when you're upgrading, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about that earlier, that you're probably not going to have a choice really soon or already that you're going to have to use Wi-Fi 6 because that's all that's available.
Yeah, Wi-Fi 5 is really difficult to get into. But I wanted to ask about the Fire Stick 4K Max.
Yeah, I would get it, man.
I probably will buy it after this video cast.
Well, click on my link because I get some Amazon revenue, affiliate revenue if you buy it. So
I will buy it.
Yeah,
is it physically bigger? Is it smaller? What is it?
It's the same size as the original Fire TV stick. It's maybe like a few millimeters longer. It comes with the same sort of little remote, with two AAA batteries in it. It has like the voice button on it also.
Yeah.
So same form factor. You can hide it in back of the TV. You can run it on maybe the USB port on the TV for power. But it comes. I would probably use the power cube that came with it, as I said in my review, just because you don't want to underpower it. But
I'll watch the review.
Yeah, watch the review, and you'll learn a lot more about it. But no, it's way snappier than the. I think this was a Generation 2 Fire TV stick that I had in there.
That you used to have. Yeah,
that I used to have, and I mean I've got a bunch of them. I've got one on every TV. Every TV and projector, I've got Fire Sticks because they work great.
So what's the cost on that thing?
It was like around $30. I think they may even be running a special on it or something. So I mean, it's not a lot of money. And again, the Wi-Fi. This is the type of device that Wi-Fi 6 is really going to help out. Boosting that speed.
Yeah, so that brings us into our next topic. Like Wi-Fi 6 is pretty much, you should be installing it anyway, right? What's the reason?
Yeah, you should be. I mean,
why would you want to install Wi-Fi 5?
Well, all right. There's a small price difference, but it's not that much at this point because I think they're even bumping prices on Wi-Fi 5 equipment because it's low availability, right? So you're competing on price on that too, right? But there's really no reason to use the Wi-Fi 5 11 AC product unless you maybe already have some of that in your installation. You just want to add a couple more, keep it the same. You don't want to do a full refresh. I know, like, you know, we still sell some EWS 360 APs. You know, people are using those still, right?
Yeah.
So if you had all those in there, maybe you want to add a couple more. They're still available, but we don't know for how long. But if you're much better off just upgrading everything to Wi-Fi 6 if you possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, I had a talk with one of our partners, and they were talking about Wi-Fi 5 and like kind of the devices that we have with Wi-Fi 5. So, you know, you could be restricted to the form factor of the hardware.
Yeah.
Like the wall plates is a big one that comes up a lot, right?
Yeah.
We do a lot of wall plates, and Wi-Fi 5 wall plates are really, really difficult to get right now. I think a lot of companies are starting to launch Wi-Fi 6 wall plates, which will have a Wi-Fi 6 wall plate, but maybe the form factor is the reason, which I understand, but you can get away with like ceiling mounts in rooms, basically as well. So unless you're looking for like extra ports on the access point, something like that. But yeah, there's no reason why you should be installing Wi-Fi 5.
I mean,
I don't think.
Unless, like, you know, some vendors, there's no availability on Wi-Fi 6 right now, so they want to stick with, you know, their same product lines. Then, you know, if Wi-Fi 5 is available, that's all, and you got to do the project now, that's all they can do, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm still selling a lot of Wi-Fi 5 from other vendors, not so much EnGenius, but, you know, I think that's going to change too. I think everyone's going to clear out the Wi-Fi 5 inventory because all the chip fabs are switching to Wi-Fi 6 anyway.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like chipset manufacturers are starting to end of life some of these older these Wi-Fi 5 chips, and Wi-Fi 5 specifically. You know, everybody's producing 11AC Wave 2.
Yeah.
And that they're starting to EOL those particular chips. So, and those chips go into many different vendors, not just like EnGenius, but like they go into
everybody.
A lot
Everyone
of different
uses
vendors.
the same
So
chips. Yeah.
it's just really difficult to do to get Wi-Fi 5 right now. But anyway, Wi-Fi 6 is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, one other thing there, you know, especially with the client bridges, no one really has a next generation Wi-Fi 6 bridge out yet. So I see people every day clamoring to get point-to-point bridges, and I'm totally sold out now. I don't have any Wi-Fi 5 or any point-to-point bridges in stock at all now. So, sorry.
Yeah, we definitely have backlogs on some of the units that we have. The end station is probably the most popular one, I think. End station, the AC one. But yeah, we're definitely seeing like backlogs on those point-to-point 11AC products. So
yeah,
it's just going across the whole board, I guess.
It is, but they'll come out with new bridges that are Wi-Fi 6 soon, I'm sure, and they'll be better and more efficient, faster, and you know, maybe even I won't say cheaper, but close to price. All right, so the other thing, talking about shortages, no one has 48 port switches right now, but we do. We have 48 port switches that we can ship. So if anyone needs them, let me know, and we'll put something together for you. Now we have 48 port non-PoE switches that are available, limited number, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But a lot of customers are coming to us saying they need PoE. So what you can do is you buy a 24 port full power PoE switch, which we have plenty of, and pair that with a 48 port non-PoE switch. So then you get your port count and you get your PoE coverage, right?
All rack mountable. You know, you can rack them together, and
they're actually the same size. They're the same rack size too, right?
Yep.
They're 2U, 1U, whatever.
I think 1U.
Yeah, they're the same size. So you can put them right on top of each other and use a twin X cable to connect them at 10 gig, and you're good to go.
Yeah,
so
all are specifically for us. All the 24 port and 48 port RSFP plus, so
Yeah.
they're 10 gigabit uplink
Yep.
ports. Yeah, so right now 24 port PoE is available, 48 port PoE. There's definitely a delay there, and there are a lot of people that are looking for 48 port PoE and just 48 port just in general. We've seen that from a lot of different. We have a lot of new customers now because we have availability
Of
so
switches
they've
at
been
all.
happy with theirs.
Yeah, so I mean, most vendors don't have any switches
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, so we're because we're who we are, we can bring in the components, and we have enough components, so we've been we're able to build them
Yeah.
and sell them, right? So yeah, but so you're saying use 48 port non-PoE and 24 port PoE as a combination,
Yeah.
and you can rack mount them next to each other,
Yeah.
and you have your ports and you have your power basically.
Right, because if you're buying a 48 port PoE, one, you're probably not using PoE in all those ports, right? You're probably using some of them for other things, and you're kind of limiting your power budget there too. So if you had a lot of Wi-Fi 6 access points, you may need two 48 port switch, two full powers, right, or something like that if you're using too many ports. Yeah, I mean, it's going to cost more to have two switches, but if that's all you can do, that's all you can do, right? So, come to me.
That's kind of the big thing. Like, how long is your customer going to wait for you to get hardware?
Right.
Before they say, okay, we'll just postpone this whole project months down the road.
Right.
When you're able to do it. So you have to look back and say, okay, do I want this project now? Do I want to roll it out now? And so that's why we do get, we're doing a lot of displacement right now where people need to do the project right now, and they're not willing to wait. And so we're you need 48 ports now, you need 24 ports now, and that's where you come in, that's where we come in, really, because we have the availability on a lot of this stuff, but not everything. We're having difficulties with some of the switch platforms that we offer.
But yeah, so come to me and I'll help you figure out what you can do. If you absolutely need the 48 port, they're not PoE, but again, you can combine them with 24 port, 8 port PoEs and get your switch ports and PoE ports where you need to be. So definitely an option, and we're seeing I'm seeing lots of switch sales. Switch sales are just taking off like mad.
Yeah, and that's one thing that a lot of people may not know. As your position, this whole thing, what would you call yourself? A value-added distributor?
Yeah, I know. So you want to explain what I can help?
Well, no, what I wanted to bring up is that you do hold stock. You have stock, and you can ship pretty much at any time, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you're very responsive in regards to shipping. So that's one of the huge benefits that I think a lot of people have mentioned to me is how quickly, you have the inventory and you can ship it right away. But the other things are the support side of things. But I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit. You are a CWNA, right?
Yeah, I have a couple of those certifications. CWNA, I have the ECHO certification. What else? The Ruckus certification, the Aerohive, everything but EnGenius. Bachelor's in computer science.
You've been selling EnGenius the longest and helping install.
I know.
Not actually installing.
So I have some qualifications to do this stuff, I guess. But
yeah.
But what I do for my customers come to me, a lot of times they'll just be like, oh, I just need this, right? So I'll just sell it to them and ship it, get it to them as fast as possible. And if they have questions afterwards, I can help them out with that, right? But sometimes they're not sure. They're like, hey, I've got this hotel, and I've got the floor plan. How many access points do I need here? Which one should I use? What's available? So
there's a lot of questions around the site survey side.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that you can help out with.
Yeah, for sure. So I have my copy of ECHO Pro here, so I can take your floor plan and heat map it with the access points that you're going to be using. So it's pretty accurate, down to like 1 or 2 APs usually for like maybe a whole hotel or school or something, right? It's pretty accurate as long as you tell me like what the materials of the building's made out of and the scale is the proper scale and all that. A lot of times I can even go into Google Maps if I've got a few guys doing hotels. I'll look at the roof of the hotel. I'll go into the street view, look how many floors it has, look what it's made out of, and I can heat map it that way. Not as accurately, but pretty close. Still pretty close.
Yeah, I would think if you're working on a hotel or like a school, for example, you should have a floor plan. You should be able to provide a floor plan. If you can't, then you haven't really done all your homework.
Yeah.
You should be able to get it. Now, in some cases, the schools or hotels may not have it, but if you're seriously going into like one of those types of deployments, you should have a floor plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't say this is appropriate for like a house, right?
Right.
You're not going to use this site survey tool for like a house. We've pretty much in the last 20 some years have been able to like predict like how many access points you would need like in a house.
Exactly.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, like 3 access points will give you full coverage of a house. 1 or 2 will not. Put it that way. You'll have like sketchy Wi-Fi. And if it's a really big house, maybe you'll need 6. If it's like a mansion, you may need twice as many, right?
We've done a lot of mansions in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say if you're going to Jeff in regards to like projects, I would say like schools, hotels, student housing. These are all these types of projects that you've done really well in the past and continue to do. So I would if you're in a particular industry where you're putting Wi-Fi in the house, that's great. But I don't think you need to go through like a site survey to be able to do that. But definitely you can give the recommendation on what hardware to put in those situations. Your house is pretty much you got everything.
Yeah. I've got 3 access points covers my house, and it's a modest house. But yeah, I've got every type of like home theater and Internet of Thing device in the house, so I know what works with what.
Yeah, your switching is pretty incredible too.
Yeah.
And you have other things set up along with that, so the home network that you have set up is pretty extreme.
Oh yeah. I've got multi-gig switches everywhere. I've got Synology NAS servers, running in the basement. Just to test out the speeds of this stuff to see, what works with what.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got all the Internet of Things. I've got Samsung Smart Things everywhere. Everything's connected. So yeah, if you have questions on these, definitely let me know. I've probably done it before.
Yeah, but the other thing I would mention about what you're doing too is that, I even come to you about like very large deployments, large business cases that you've really helped me out in some of these installations. So it's not only just kind of like home installations, but I would say that you've supported us on larger deployments and given, advice and things like that. So it goes beyond just doing Wi-Fi within homes. In the larger university situations or MDUs or special cases and things like that. And you've done that for the last 20-some years. So, it goes beyond that. So, like I said, if you're going to Keenan Systems to get help, you can go from a residential situation all the way up to like a multifamily home, for example, or a building, not a home, but a building, for example. So, no, I just wanted to kind of bring that up. And you stock and you ship.
I stock and I ship really fast, but so don't make my head too big there, Brian. But yeah, if you need any help with Wi-Fi, definitely come to me and I can get you going. So what else do we want to talk about? I think that's it. You got anything else, Brian?
Don't have anything else.
All right. Well.
Oh.
So what I'll do is I'll post a link to that Fire TV Stick 4K Max in my review.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
You can buy it and everyone else buy it. Hey, I give it a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. And remember to like and subscribe for more help with